I'm here with Charles Dawes, Senior Director International Marketing at Rovi. Charles, one of your big initiatives this year is around conversation-led discovery. Can you tell me a little bit about what that is and how it can benefit the consumer?
Yeah, so I think we're seeing in the marketplace a real explosion of voice as an interaction method. And at Rovi, we've really focused around taking that to the next level with what we call conversation-led voice discovery. So what we're trying to do is trying to move on from that simple command-based structure of being able to say something simple like an actor's name or a title. Actually, that doesn't give you enough of a discovery experience. What we want to do with conversation is actually lead you through a discovery experience from one query to the next and understand when you speak and when you say what you want to look for, actually understand the meaning of what you say. So for instance, if you were to say, when's the derby on? Actually understand that for you, that could be the crunch match between your two local football teams, or if you're a horse racing fan, actually it could well be the Epsom Derby horse race.
So from the research you've carried out, what are consumers looking for from content search and discovery tools generally, and why?
So one of the things that we do at Rovi is we go out and do an annual global survey around content discovery. One of the things that we consistently find is that consumers say they can't find content. So actually, overall, about 83% of people have said at one point or another they've turned off the TV because they couldn't find content. Actually, about a third of the audience say they do that quite regularly and do it on a frequent basis. Which, when as an industry we've given them more and more content to consume, if they can't find anything, that's a real issue. So one of the areas that we're really trying to focus around is that simplification of the discovery experience. So using these new technologies like conversation-led voice to be able to enable people to discover content in the most simple, seamless fashion possible.
Following that, how can TV operators use content discovery as a tool to differentiate their offerings?
Yeah, absolutely. Service providers need to use discovery as a differentiation factor for them. It's an area where they spend a lot of money on content. Actually enabling customers to be able to find that content and understand the value of what they get from their operator is really key. And you only need to talk to people like we do in our survey to understand that if they haven't got a great content discovery experience, they're going to switch off from that service. The ones who have a great discovery experience are the people who are keeping the customers, stopping them from churning, because the customer's fulfilling their needs within that content service.
Now, you've done quite a lot of work around sports content. What particular challenges are involved in providing discovery tools to enable discovery of sports content?
Sports is an area where we feel has somewhat been neglected from a main discovery point of view. If you think about how you can discover a movie or one of the big box sets TV series, we know an awful lot of detail about the programme, about the cast and the crew. But when you look at a sports event, actually you're lucky if you get the two teams playing each other. You don't get any of the background, the history of that match. Have they played each other before? Has there been a fantastic game before? And equally with the sporting stars, you don't get the same general level of information about sporting stars. So one of the areas where we've been really focusing around is how do we bring up that sports discovery experience by building out that back catalogue. But at the same time, sports by its very nature is incredibly dynamic. So how do we take account of that within the discovery experience and within the metadata? And one of the areas where we're really focusing around is that building out that dynamic side of sports discovery, so that you can understand when, for instance, a game is a really hot game, something that's trending, so that you can pull consumers into that game to watch it, because that's where they should be at that time. And
finally, how can TV operators take that and use it to deliver a more rewarding sports viewing experience?
Yes, I think to deliver a more rewarding sports experience is actually to build out some of that more detail, to bring in some of that functionality of actually enabling the consumer to understand which content is the right content for them. Sports itself, actually, it covers a huge range of different areas, and we cover many hundreds of sporting leagues and events. But being able to help the consumer understand the right ones for them. Maybe somebody is incredibly interested in football, or maybe incredibly interested in tennis, but they may not be interested in both together. So helping them to understand that right content at the right time is really key.